Harold the H. Peacock, the Peacock Man, our historian, is on the line. I just noticed here something, I don't know if it relates to Harold, but where is it? It's a cricketer today. He no-balled 12 times, which, I tell you what...
Well, it wasn't me, Danny.
No. You know what, but Harold, he had a squeaky voice after no-balling 12 times, I can tell you. Hey?
Okay, well, I don't understand what you're saying.
Well,
I want to tell you about the Christmas in Ipswich.
Yeah, and there was a plague, and it was in 1900, but you're going to tell us about the plague in 1921. Take it away, Harold.
Yeah, in fact, the bubonic plague, or the Black Death, as you know, was one of the most deadly diseases in history, devastating Europe at the 14th and 17th century. But like you said, there were 2 outbreaks in Australia in the earlier 20th century that killed over 1,000 people. Wow. And Ipswich was the only inland city in Australia to be infected. Now, the first case that was reported in Ipswich was on the 23rd of May 1900, when it was 2-year-old Ida Frances Minute, when she was admitted to hospital. Now, Ida had been driven into Ipswich in a spring cart by Father Robert, who was a house painter just outside town at One Mile Bridge. Right. And they were surrounded by mounted police the whole way.
Wow.
Now, Ida's mother stayed with her when she was taken by train from the station at Union Street to the Plague Hospital in Brisbane. And her father was immediately placed in isolation, and the railway carriage disinfected and fumigated. So it's no different to today.
No different to today. Quarantine, that's unbelievable. The things keep going.
That's right. Anyway, little Ida recovered, but her parents weren't spared tragedy because her son Ernest was killed in the Somme in 1916, the First World War. Now, but the amazing thing is, Ida lived to the grand old age of 95 years, and her brother even longer, to 98. So, Danny, the Ipswich people are made of tough stuff.
Oh, we know that. There's a bloke walking outside at the moment eating gravel. Yeah,
well, I know, and enjoying it. But there was, moving on to 1921, it wasn't so good. No. When the Black Death came back to Ipswich in October of that year, 1921, when an infected rat was discovered in a business in the centre of town. Now, I don't know which business it was, so hopefully it's not your building.
No, not at the moment. There's a few old rats around here with grey hair.
Yeah, no, it's the fleas we're worried about. Because in early December in 1921, more infected rats were found with the fleas, and so that really threatened a human outbreak for Christmas, and that's what happened, because the Ipswich Council responded by paying a bounty of 6 per head for each rat delivered to the council yard in Brisbane and Gordon Streets. Now, by the second weekend of December, 14-year-old Norman Morris Smith became the first person from Ipswich to be infected in this new outbreak. In fact, well, it was the last outbreak. Now, he was admitted to hospital in Brisbane, but died on the 14th of December 1921. The Ipswich Council immediately doubled the rat bounty to 1 shilling a head. In fact, there were rumours of people breeding rats outside of town and bringing them in, but and there was a truckload from Rosewood, which we won't mention. No. But the plague claimed a life of a 3-year-old child in Brisbane on Christmas Day. Now, the day after Christmas, I guess it started to cool down because Ipswich Council dropped the rat bounty back to 6pence. But all up, 5 people from Ipswich had died during this Christmas outbreak in 1921.
And the plague? Like it's
that's right.
Similar
to bubonic plague.
But like the pandemic, it's a bit, isn't it? Like, not as bad. It's just as bad because there's still that stigma of catching, because the boy Norman Smith, he's the only son of a fruiterer on Brisbane Street in Ipswich, and he'd been infected by fleas on a rat that was feeding on waste fruit at his father's shop. Now, shortly after Norman's death, the family left Ipswich and moved to Southport to get away from the stigma of having the plague. But the Christmas in Ipswich with the Black Death in 1921 was never to be forgotten. No,
it was only 99 years ago.
Well, some rat started this pandemic, and he's a flea as well. And we don't know where it comes from. But all right, now look.
That's right.
Well, you got more to tell us?
Yeah, look, I just want to tell you, because I'm actually calling you from the streets of Southport, down where the Smith family were. In fact, Danny, did you know you've got a huge fan down here at Southport? So we should give a big shout out to Rebecca, who never misses your show. I'm certainly she's listening now.
Rebecca, a big shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in. She must be technically minded to be able to download the app of West Bremer Radio.
Oh, look, you can listen to it worldwide, and you can read this story too. In a few minutes, I'll upload it onto historyouthere.com.
Historyouthere.com. You won't believe who is listening at the moment
Donald Trump in the White House. They're all listening right here. And that was Harold the H. Peacock, our Ipswich historian. You'll hear him about this time each week here on West Bremer Radio 819.